Welcome to another Performance Anxiety. I am Lisa Anderson, and I sit here today with my co-host, Joan Elizabeth.
Hi.
And today we're kind of doing a mashup of topics that we feel kind of go together. And so we're going to be talking about the importance of audience participation, live audiences, as well as the differential between theater and film and TV and the impact of live theater, and then as well as some marketing for live theater and social media and the impact that that has had. So bear with us as we go flying around our topics that we eventually will wind with some sort of thread, and you guys will be amazed.
We're going to pinball today, so
yes,
get ready for it.
Yes, and we won't sing Tommy.
No.
I
won't.
We'll save them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a musical.
I am. I haven't started rehearsals yet.
I haven't sang for quite a while. Although, you know what's funny is I did actually, every year, I send my mom a happy birthday recording. Okay. And I usually just sing it and I put it on my phone and just send it to her like a voice memo thing. Right. And she loves it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And she just turned 68 and she looks like she's, 50. And, but this year I was at my computer and I grabbed my phone to start recording and I went, what am I doing? I have a microphone. I have Adobe Audition.
I have the hookup.
Yeah, I've got the hookup.
Yeah.
And so me, who could never sing alto because of, well, mostly at that time, the range, but that's not a problem anymore. But the harmonizing was always a difficult thing for me to do because I was a soprano. We almost always got the main line of the song. You didn't have to harmonize.
Yeah, y'all got the special treatment.
Yeah, we did. We did, totally. I managed to harmonize, and I sent my mom a 2-part harmony, happy birthday, and I made it sound like there was like 4 voices singing her happy birthday.
Oh, you harmonized with yourself?
I did. And I sent it to my mom and away it went.
I have to admit, when you started saying all that, I was hoping you were going to say that you auto-tuned yourself because that would have been hilarious.
I thought I was going to have to, but I didn't.
Of course you don't have to. How could you sing? You have a beautiful singing voice.
Well, shit. It kind of goes off key all on its own these days, and I can't quite control it, but somehow, okay, I learned Happy Birthday a certain way in choir, eons ago. I mean, I graduated over 20 years ago. So I learned this probably my sophomore year of high school. So I have been singing Happy Birthday soprano style, going up on the notes, doing whatever, waiting for everybody else to come in on their bit for years. Like, the thought of trying to sing Happy Birthday normally is very difficult for me.
I mean, if you put that out into the world on social media, I think you might go viral as like the one person who can sing it correctly because everyone else I know can't, including myself, can't sing Happy Birthday well at all.
Yeah, well,
it's like notorious for being a song that nobody can sing.
Well, I was sitting there trying to sing it normally. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sing the normal line, and what actually wound up happening was like I tried and I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm done practicing. We're going to give it a whirl. Like, I don't have all the time in the world. I love my mom, but I don't have all the time in the world to just be dicking around with happy birthday songs, right?
I would make all the time in the world for that.
But, I surprised myself because I played the soprano bit that I had already sang on while I was trying to sing the regular thing. And instead of just singing regular happy birthday, I somehow broke into the alto bit and very smoothly harmonized with myself. And I went, wow. So I don't know. I still don't know if I can sing it correctly. I don't know if I could sing the regular version even. I tried and I failed.
I wonder who wrote the Happy Birthday song.
I don't know. I don't know, but they missed out on a
Well,
lot of royalties
They
over the
really
years.
did. They missed out on a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should find out one day. Well, if you know who created the Happy Birthday song, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Yes, do. And I don't know how we actually even got on this topic. So back to
It's a
what
nice
we were
cold
originally
open,
talking
yeah.
about. So Joan, do you think that live theater is better, more important, or neutral to film and television? Or equal?
I'm going to go with equal. Important for different reasons.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay. We'll expand.
When you said more important or better, I was like, no, absolutely not. However, I do think there are elements of live theater that need to stay. Like we need it as an art form.
Yes.
It's important. That audience engagement is so necessary to keep that connection, because when you're doing a live show and you have a live audience there really is a symbiotic kind of energetic connection and exchange that happens that I would argue doesn't happen with anything that's been filmed.
No.
Pre-filmed.
No. But there are some exceptions. So
Sure.
obviously the actors can't feel it on stage when you're reacting to things in a theater format where you're watching a movie, okay?
Right.
But we went a few years ago, my sister got us tickets to go to a Jacksonville theater that was playing The Princess Bride. And Carrie Elwes was there to do a talk afterwards. Okay. Now he has not watched The Princess Bride. Okay. But
he has.
No,
Really?
I not since the premiere, if
Okay.
I remember correctly.
A lot of actors say that about.
Yeah, I
work
listened to
they've
his
created.
book, and I think he even said it on stage
Yeah.
too.
Wow.
But the energy in the room, because everybody knew the lines, like the people that were there were part of the cult. You know, this is the Princess Bride. And if you were bringing somebody for the first time who had never seen it, they were in for a ride, because all the big lines, everybody's shouting them out. And it was like being in a live theater, you know, that energy.
Yeah, so that's you're absolutely right about that. I would agree that there is when you have when a film has its core audience, and there are those films that have their core audience and their fan base like that almost has an emotional connection to the film for whatever reason, you know. In some cases, Rocky Horror. I had a somewhat similar experience seeing John Cleese live.
Yes.
And he did it, same thing. They showed Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and then he did a talk. And what was really cool and special about that was that his daughter interviewed him.
Oh, that's really cool.
And she asked him questions that had been emailed.
Yeah.
And it was really
Oh,
neat.
that
And
is really special.
either his or her little dog was like running around on stage with them too. So it was very
that's
sweet.
cute.
It was
That's
very
cute.
sweet.
Yeah. You know, I think Carrie handled the situation really well, because the person that they had interviewing him, she had obviously never seen the movie. That was the first mistake. And she wasn't a great interviewer.
Oh my.
And he just smoothly led
So so many people were pissed about that. They were
my God.
I could have done a better job.
Yeah,
I've seen this movie 14,000 times.
But he was so cute too, because whenever a kid asked him a question, he would come out into the audience and go to the kid to answer. It was just, he was just unbelievably
That's so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you, this is getting off topic of what we're discussing, but you brought up Carrie Elwes. Have you watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel at all?
I have loved that.
Okay.
Yes.
And his character in that was so funny.
Yes.
It's this pretentious Shakespearean actor. He was so hilarious.
I know, it's great.
He's delightful.
Great. Sometimes I have to do a double take when he's in other things.
I know, when he shows up and you're like, oh, hey, it's Carrie Elwes.
Hey.
I forgot you were in Saw.
Yeah. I know.
The star
What did
of
I
that
say?
movie.
I think he's actually coming. He's coming here to Ocala.
Is he?
You know, yeah, he's coming for the Spookula that they.
Oh, he's going to be there with
do.
Corey Feldman.
Yeah. So I,
Great.
my sister sent it to me and I was like, that's wonderful. I won't be going because there will be way too many people. And that's just
A big
you
crowd.
know, yeah, my little introverted, I'd rather be in the booth and not talk to people.
Yeah.
Self,
stage manager you.
Yeah, stage manager me. That I kind of avoid that. But I think that's kind of cool that it's coming to the area.
Yeah, that's neat.
And, but it should be kind of fun. But yeah, I saw on the poster, Saw and Princess Bride, and they mean some of the things that he's done. And I'm just like, Saw and Princess Bride should not be next to each other. That's just not like.
He's the common link between those two films.
Yeah.
And then what was it? Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Yes.
That was the other thing that.
Yes,
he's really
that's
famous
another.
for.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
big one. Yeah, that they had on there and everything. So, but no, I like getting back to our original topic here before we bunny trail too far.
Circling back. We told you it was
Circling.
going to be,
Yeah, ping pong.
pinball wizard. And,
Yeah. pinball, ping pong. It's all getting knocked around anyway.
Racquetball,
Whatever. No, I agree with you. I think that film and television are as equally important as live theater. And I think that having those types of audiences generates, like you said, that energy that keeps things alive. And I think there has to be that connection. And sometimes that connection can only be felt in live theater versus film or television.
Well, to give you an example, I worked backstage on a recent local production last season that was actually a one-man show.
Okay.
And it was one of the first, I believe, one-person shows that this theater had done.
Okay.
And so you could film a one-person show like that. But there's something, because I was talking to him, and it's the concept really was that the audience was like, these people had shown up randomly to hear this person, give this lecture.
Yeah.
And so I was talking with him, with the actor in that show, and he was talking about how, he's like, I decide who I'm looking at because the audience it's dark out there, so you can't really see them. But he's like, I can feel like where my energy is sort of gravitating to. Okay, this person over here, I want to speak to them on this, and then go over here for this other line. So it's kind of there's an intuitive thing that happens and stuff like that. And I don't think you'd get that experience with something that's been filmed, pre-recorded. But also, I kind of think that we have this tendency to want to compare art forms. And it's like, so comparing film with television or comparing film with live theater to me is like comparing the importance or the necessity of painting versus sculpture.
Right.
So it's like, I don't think one is better or more important than the other. Obviously, we all have individual tastes that are catered more to one or the other, or we've been influenced by one more than the other, so we perceive.
Right.
But it doesn't really mean that one is better or more
worse.
necessary.
Yeah. And, we talked in the last episode about the projection screens that are coming into play now. So it's kind of like the two worlds are almost merging.
Yeah.
And like I said in the last episode, I'm excited to see where that kind of goes.
I am too. So I know a lot of people, and you mentioned this last time too, are a little scared of the change, or maybe are reticent about it. They don't like it, or they're uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
But that change is going to happen, and rather than being resistant to it, I think it's great just to lean into it and let it play out how it's going to.
I agree. And it's I think it's such a great merriment because I feel like, shadow casts were kind of that initial stepping stone to doing something like that, and it also makes it available for smaller theaters to be able to bring larger productions without having all of the entire set cost
Yeah.
that goes with it. And as you said, it makes it more interesting because there's movement and things happening.
Yeah, there's a dynamism to it
Yeah.
at that point. you
Yeah.
know?
And, you know, I realize that the initial cost might be difficult for a small theater to reach, you know, if they want good technology in there. But it's easier for them to possibly get a grant and do that than trying to consistently get grants for all of the stage, you know, sets and stuff like that.
Yeah, and in terms of like cost effectiveness, I also and I don't have any facts and figures on this.
I
but,
don't either.
But I would think it in the long run it would be more eco-friendly for one,
Yes.
because you're building less.
building less paint, less
And
waste.
Yeah, less waste, less paint, less lumber, less like all the resources, and eventually more cost effective. It would balance out.
Yeah. And it would be really interesting. It's going to, you know, watching the tech people learn new skills to be able to create their set designs
Yeah.
for the projection screen and have it like we talked about with that motorcycle that went back into the projection screen, you know, and how you
Yeah.
can tie it in so that you can actually play like it's a part of it, and not just like you said in the thing that you saw that was absolutely beautiful and there was scenery and stuff like that. It can be just that, or it can be interactive.
It could be totally interactive.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know, we talked with Mike Ritchie and Frankenstein set. How cool would it be to be able to have a designer design part of that set on the background, you know, that steampunk set that they had,
gosh.
you know, have part of that be on a projection screen.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
It would be amazing. And there'd probably be even more working and parts to it that would make it seem even bigger, you
For
know?
sure.
Yeah.
And I just feel with projection systems like that and bringing more multimedia into live theater, there's so much room to play visually and
Yes.
sound wise too. There's so much. There's like, I just think the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, after seeing it utilized in even kind of a, I don't want to say a simplistic way, but in probably the most minimalist way that it could be
Right.
used.
Yeah.
But then, you know, what you're talking about with the motorcycle and that whole creating optical illusions almost.
Right.
Where
right.
you're not sure what's happening and it may be a little disorienting. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I love going to IMAX films.
Yeah.
And I love, I actually really love 3D movies.
Do you? I can't handle them. I can't
They're
handle them.
like, so they're kind of disorienting for some
Yeah.
people, especially if it's like a visual.
I get
audio-
motion
Do
sickness.
you get motion
so
sickness?
yeah. So
Okay.
that's that. Yeah.
But I do love that technology, and
I think it's
don't-
really cool.
I don't actively seek it out for like regular films, but
Mm-hmm.
I do love it when you go to like a theme park and they're doing some kind of 3D thing. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
so cool. But I also really enjoy planetarium shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I do
Because-
too. I like that.
Yeah, because they have a dome screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of a 360 thing. Where,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
you really feel like you're immersed in it.
it's immersive.
I always love that too, and I think that for me comes from, you know, I lived out in the country, so you could make it pitch black, and we would go and
Yeah.
we'd lay on one of those giant trampolines with my dad, and we'd just stare at the night sky. My dad was big into stars and all that kind of stuff. So like when
it's
we
a
had
whole show.
yeah, so when we had gone to a planetarium, you know, and I remember like learning about that stuff, and he was just so excited. So then we get back from the planetarium and we lay on the trampoline, and he's pointing out the constellations that we had just learned about, and you know,
So cool.
yeah. So it's that kind of interactive, and I think that translates well into theater as
Absolutely.
well, because you know your that imagination is coming to life,
Yeah.
you know, and you're seeing it, and I think it can be. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with that technology. I really am.
Yeah. And I think it's a great way to also appeal to younger audiences and improve outreach.
Yes.
Because if there's one area that I think is a bit lacking in community theaters, in live theater in general. I think it's outreach to younger, more diverse audiences in general. I'm not speaking to any specific theater here.
No. Yeah, no, I agree in general. And I think it's a good lead-in for the social media stuff, because I think that the social media is helping to bring it back to the younger generations as well, to be able to see that. And there's definitely a whole side. Sometimes my TikTok goes right into all of that. And I'm kind of weird because I have multiple TikToks. We have multiple TikToks.
There are multiple TikToks. When I go to the convenience store,
I have to pick a flavor. I tell you what,
all the flavors right there. There's so many flavors of TikToks.
I know,
now.
It's crazy.
They got like purple berries and
TikTok. So I run several different TikToks, and each one, I like to have my FYP page, a specific thing, so that when I'm in the mood for something, I can. And a lot of times the performing arts sneaks into my TikTok that I prefer to have for cute, fuzzy animals. And I have to, I hate to do it, but I have to put that not interested and get on over to the other TikTok.
You have to keep everything organized.
I do, because otherwise you
are the consummate stage manager. You have to keep everything.
You do. Well, otherwise it's just chaos.
And magazine publisher.
I know, but I mean, like, seriously, you don't know where you're going to end up on your FYP otherwise, you know?
I would be like, I don't know why this is here, but great. Like, which is why
but then you just spiral into this ping-pongy world of weird crap that comes up on your FYP. That's just... Can't handle that.
Don't ever get into my Instagram account. Don't ever look at accounts I'm following, because it's like Chihuahua puppies, black cats, and then like yogis, and
you know what's weird is I don't really care. Like what I follow on Instagram is whatever, and then I just scroll through.
World podcast. Yeah, it's like all the.
I mean, sometimes you got to think about that algorithm, and so you have to follow,
I don't believe in the algorithm.
I know. It's just crazy. But I think like getting back to the theater stuff. Move on. I think it does open up the world of live performance for comedians, for theater, for not so much like things like burlesque and stuff like that. I think it opens the door a little bit, but they have to be so careful.
Yeah.
And they're getting tighter and tighter restrictions on that kind of stuff too, which is unfortunate. I mean, I get it, because they can't always control who's watching it, and so you do have to be. You don't want to have an R-rated thing land on a 6-year-old kid's TikTok FYP that they're watching on there.
Yeah, that's the thing too, especially with TikTok. A lot of kids are on there. And...
They are, yeah. A lot, younger than they should be too.
Yeah.
And but I'm not a parent, so yeah. So I just say that as a general, overview. But but so I get it. But at the same time, it's sad, because I think. Social media marketing is so good. And like when we talk to Sally B. Dash, they're doing live stream performances.
Live streaming their performances, which is great.
It's great, because that opens it all up, especially after, post-COVID, shutdowns and things like that. It's just, it opened that whole world up. And I think that the social media platform got even stronger because of the pandemic for theatrical and performing arts and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And so what would you think would be the most effective form of communication for theater and social media platforms? Do you think it's more videos, or do you think it's more like, here's what's happening, poster style?
Well, it's tricky with live theater because a lot of content is not royalty free, and so there are strict rules about what they can post video wise,
right?
And, what they can't. So, I mean, you can post video a lot of the time, but it has to be muted and then, dubbed in with music or something like that. So I almost think that pictures are probably the most effective, and then really good captioning. So really good copy
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good, effective descriptions of what you're posting, because, especially with the new visual, and you want copy that's exciting to read.
Yes.
So I find that personally to be the most so good high resolution photos if you can use them, and really good copy, so really good captions that give you. So if you posted just a picture of the most recent show that I saw at the local community theater, which was outside Mullingar, and they had that beautiful projection. And if it was just the photo, I would have been like, that's pretty. That looks different, But I wouldn't have had any context.
Right.
But they have a really, really great marketing director who was able to write, some really good captions about, hey, come check out our new projection system, and, this is what the show's about.
Yeah, so you
blah,
can
blah, blah.
actually understand what's going on. Yeah. It
encourages people to read, too.
Yes, a lost art. Yeah. No, not really. I mean, because, they actually say most people watch videos on silent. There's a good, I don't have the exact number, but I know that it's a really large percentage.
I know, I do.
Yeah, and so they rely on the closed captioning, they rely on the descriptions of what's happening. And so, the sound isn't always necessary.
No, it's really not.
I enjoy the behind the scenes stuff too.
Yeah, the BTS stuff is cool.
Yeah. And, I think I've seen a couple of times where landed on my FYP page for a couple of days, couldn't shake it, but it was partly my fault because I wasn't hitting the heart button, but I was watching them in their entirety.
It all the way through, so they're getting those views.
Yes. She might like this, know. But it was Mary Poppins running from one theater basically all the way to, or from one side of the theater all the way to the other, and she had to be in a cart and stuff so that she could go fly and do her last
so
song.
That's really cool, because so if they have, I feel like what a lot of theaters need now is a really good social media marketing person who is if they can swing it, a paid employee, because you can do creative things like that. And if they have the time and the resources to do it, you can market your shows really creatively in fun ways like that.
Exactly.
And create videos without having to use the copyrighted, licensed material.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, and you can share stories and things that are happening behind the scenes,
absolutely.
Hey, I got called in on this show last minute. I wasn't supposed to be on at all. And, this happened to the main actor and suddenly I'm thrust into this thing. It would have been great to see the behind the scenes on when you got thrust into it because you weren't even an understudy.
No.
That would have been pure chaos and fun, and would have given the audience context. And if you had and if they had posted it right away, the people that were coming to the performance would have known, oh my God, this is what's happening tonight. This is crazy, you know?
Because that was such a whirlwind that I didn't end up even mentioning it to any of my friends until after the run was over, because I was so hyper focused on just getting there and getting it done each night.
Yes, and if they had somebody doing the behind the scenes social marketing for you, I think that would have been really cool.
That would have been really cool.
And you probably wouldn't even have noticed them. They would have asked you questions. You would have been like, yep, I'm studying my lines and blah, blah, blah. And off you go. And they're just kind of, I could see it like Joan with her book, just walking down this long aisle of all by herself, But you have to have somebody. I even though we do a lot of this kind of stuff, I struggle with the short form videos and remembering to actually record all of that stuff. I'm really good with this stuff, but this is like stage managing type stuff, right? It's like the publishing. It's organized. This is what's happening.
Yeah, the short form stuff. I look at with kind of I'm torn about it because there's so much of it and it can be produced so quickly.
Yes.
So it sort of caters to a shorter attention span, and that to me is I find it a little frustrating and a little dismaying because I'm like, oh, this is ruining our collective attention span, but I don't know that it really is.
I don't know that it is. I
think it's just a different art form.
It is a different art form. And for any of you YouTube gurus out there that are watching, or anybody that's a big YouTube person, I know we don't have any shorts yet. I know it.
We're
I know
working on it.
We're working on it. I'll figure it out.
We'll do it.
But
soon.
that's not planned, and that's a problem. I mean,
and on that, I can only speak to my own experience. That realizing, like, oh, I can enjoy Instagram Reels because I don't really look at TikTok, but I can enjoy Instagram Reels, and then I can also sit through a 90-minute show and not feel like, oh my God. I feel and enjoy it.
Well, and I think
really
that
genuinely enjoy it.
I think the attention span too is an issue that you were talking about. For me, I don't consider myself ADD at all. I don't feel like I have any of those symptoms. But what I do notice that I never used to do, like I used to be someone that had to focus on one thing. You could not have multiple sounds going. You could not have, this person playing music over here or this TV running over here while playing music over here. Like that is not a thing. But suddenly I am able to start doing that, and like I have to stop it. Like my significant other has hearing aids, and so having all of that kind of noise is overwhelming. So when he comes into the same room, because I will be sitting there having a TV show that I've already seen, so I'm not overly engaged in it, right? And I'll be watching TikTok videos at the same time. And I don't even really realize that I'm doing it and all the chaos and noise that's happening until he walks into the room and I go, oh, I need to stop the TikTok so we only have one thing going,
Because he's processing all that.
He's processing so much. And he wears hearing aids. So it's even more,
it's amplified.
Yeah. And so that's, interesting. But even still, like sitting there watching things, even that I haven't seen before, it has to be pretty intense for me to put down my phone and not play. Like I usually play some sort of game, whether it's Yahtzee or, solitaire or something, like while I'm watching a movie, because otherwise I get bored, and it's the weirdest thing because, I think it's a good movie or it's a good show, but it has to be really engaging for me.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. Yeah. I like to actually listen to podcasts on my phone and play games at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like a little one-stop shop. I can play my little like Tetris game and listen at the same time. I've gotten more into the listening format too. I've gotten more into that kind of like this kind of new era of radio and which I really enjoy. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in between podcasts, like listening types. I love audio, Audible books and
me too.
like that kind of stuff. I listen to that all the time, and I'm a big James Marsters fan for reading. Like, have you listened to any of those?
I have
his
not.
Voice.
I've had his books recommended to, or his Audible recordings. I've had them recommended to me, but I still haven't gotten.
Oh my goodness!
I have a long laundry list of books I need to read and things I need to watch, and I'm always adding to the list.
Because there's another performing arts, like really, like people that read audiobooks and stuff like that do that, like voiceovers and everything. Yeah, that's amazing. I think you could probably do it, definitely.
I think it'd be fun to at least experiment with. I've recorded, just on my phone, I've recorded my own writing.
So I do this thing. And you can hear it. I can hear it. I don't know if other people hear it, but I try to pitch my voice down a little bit, even in these recordings. And when I'm really relaxed, I forget to do that. So then you guys get to hear me talk a little bit like this on the other side. But here's what's so funny. So I used to, on phones though, I really sound like a kid when I have to leave a voice message.
Oh yeah.
So I really pitched my voice down. And then if you're here in person, I sound like a 900 number, like you just called a 900 number.
I actually have the opposite. I try to pitch my voice up because I have a naturally deep voice.
Okay.
So I'll hear myself on these recordings and the same thing like on the phone, and I'm like, oh my God, I sound like Elizabeth Holmes. Like, I'm not even trying to.
No, see, when I'm
Like, hey,
editing,
Lisa, what's up? Oh,
yeah,
God.
yeah. Because we're a small thing. I also do the editing on these. So when I'm editing us and I hear your voice and I'm like, that is so nice. It is so perfectly clear and wonderful and a great pitch. And then here I come and I'm like, hello. But
And I don't even notice that.
yeah, isn't that crazy? But
Yeah.
it's just how we hear ourselves internally.
Yeah.
You know?
Because we hear our voices inside of our skulls, like
Yes.
inside of our ears and not out there. And then, yeah, hearing a record. It's so fascinating how hearing a recording of your voice, you're like, I don't sound like that.
I don't, that's not what I said. Why do I sound like
I
a
don't sound-
teenage girl?
Why do I sound like an adolescent boy? Like, should write a play about this.
we could write a play. It's amazing how social marketing has devolved into us talking about our voices. But
Yeah.
you know what series? I mean, if we're going to continue on this bunny trail thing, to
Yeah.
kind of circle back to James Marsters, my obsession started because my significant other got me hooked on the Dresden Files.
That's
Okay.
another one. I think he mentioned that one to me too.
Yeah, most likely because
Yeah.
it was one of his favorite series, and it is current like mine. And I usually turn on audiobooks before I fall asleep. Okay.
Okay.
And so it's such a long series, and it's still not even over. Like I think we're on like book 17 or 18, something like that, and there's supposed to be I think 21 or something. And James Marsters narrates them all. Now he missed one, and they had to go back and redo it with him on there because the following was so upset.
Oh, did the fans?
The
raise
fans
holy
went,
hell?
oh yes, they did.
It's so
They did.
interesting. Yeah, and that's one thing I want to touch on too, because I kind of think of that as a form of social media.
It is.
And it's like same with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this interesting, like talking about the audience engagement and the audience connection during a live show. With social media, there's this trend of like parasocial relationships forming that I don't, that can be unhealthy at times, but also is fascinating. Just sociologically.
Yes.
There are these people out there that are fans of YouTubers and especially like YouTube vloggers that are just talking about their everyday lives to the camera. And I think I'm a little too old to understand that. I'm like, I like the vloggers who have like a subject matter that they've researched and they're going to talk about that. Like Lindsay Ellis and all those. I love people like that because they have a topic and they're going to present it to you and cut it in with like clips and things.
And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because I think the vloggers that I follow too all have that. Like there's, and I follow, one of them that has like I think it's Lone Fox is, but he has it's a decorating. He does all sorts of decorating and he's bought his own house. And so now he's
cool.
renovating his house, and stuff like that. So it's really cool. But he just takes his camera everywhere and he talks and and I'm like, I can't, maybe I'm too old, but I have a hard time doing that,
Well, yeah. And I on a personal level, I don't get it. Like people that are like YouTubers or TikTok star influencers that I guess kind of just like document their lives. They're like, today I'm going to the store. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, well, like,
but there's a whole audience for that.
There is a whole audience for that, and you know what? This literal show was born out of both of our an inability to understand or willingness to try vlogging like that. Because when I reached out to you, I said I wanted to start a podcast and I didn't know what subject matter we should do, but I knew that I needed a co-host because I didn't want to just sit there and talk by myself.
And just talk at the camera.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
really hard
we
for me to
engage
do.
with you guys sometimes. I mean, right now you're just a little light on a stand in the back, but we believe you're there and listening to us. But
I'm probably like jinxing us by saying this, but I get excited when we get comments. I'm like, oh, there's a comment.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I do too. So
comment that was like,
leave a comment.
Yeah, a comment that was like merch. I'm like, yes. We're in a conversation now.
You have engaged.
Merch, it's coming. And then you were like, indeed. And I'm like, yeah.
We've had a conversation now.
But I have had friends who have attained a certain level of success on YouTube, and it's been mostly positive, and then they get a few fans that are like a little too... What happens is those people start commenting.
Yeah, and then it spirals.
And then it spirals because they comment back. They're like, oh, thank you so much. And then that person who may be a little bit deluded has this idea that now they have a relationship.
Yeah.
So that's
there
interesting
is some of that.
trend.
Yeah. And I have seen some creators too that have run into where they do not say anything or give away anything on where they live, and fans have figured it out and found them,
Yeah, you'll never find us.
Yeah. It's probably really easy. I'm sorry, Joan. That's why we lock the door.
My life is not that interesting, just so you know.
Yeah.
This is one of the most interesting things I do.
Same here. I really hate to say it.
Really boring.
Really boring.
If you ever do want to try and stalk me, I'm just letting you know you're wasting your time.
I will say this about boring lives and getting off the subject matter, but like live theater versus film and television. Okay. I am in my 40s. You are coming up to your 40s because I realized on one episode I said you were older than me. That was a lie. That was a flat out lie. She's younger than me.
Oh, did you? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I see it more than you because I edit it. So then I'm like, oh, but wait a minute, she's younger than me.
How dare you?
I know you were so upset. I could tell. Like you've been hounding me to make that correction ever since I did it.
Lisa, you said I was older.
Yeah, I know. I'm clearly younger. But anyway, you get into your 30s and 40s and you want to go out less. It's a big trend. Not everybody. There's still some night owls out there that are in their 30s and 40s. I do not fall into that category. So going to live theater and live performances, I have a desire to go, but I also have a desire to stay home and be in my pajamas. Yeah. And it is a dilemma. And a lot of times, I am as they used to call me in college, Granny Lily.
Granny Lily?
Yes, because I went
to... Can we turn that into a hashtag, please? How do you spell that? L-I-L-I?
No, we did L-E-A.
L-E-A.
Yeah. And they used to call me like
That's cute.
There was one gal that started calling everybody like 2-syllable nicknames and in college, and so I got Lily, and I still have an old college roommate that calls me Lily, and she was Mel Gel, and but yeah, they used to call me Granny Lily because I used to go to bed before everybody else. And at that time, it was like 9, 10 o'clock. Well, now it's like 8, 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Well, after a long day of work, because, we both have full-time jobs in addition to doing this. And I love my job. I love what I do. But after work and after I've clocked out, I get really cozy. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to I just want to do nothing. And especially if it's, because I drive a lot for my work too. So not every day, but I do, like, I drive lots of miles. So when I come home and it's, I had a friend who, there was a benefit concert recently for a local charity. And she was like, are you going? And I was like, it's not that I don't care and I don't want to support, and that I don't want to see the performers. It's that I'm like, my bed is.
I know what
so
concert
comfy.
you're talking about because I stayed home in my cozy little bed that night too. Yeah,
and it was on a weeknight, which makes it even harder.
Yes, it
Thursday
does.
night. And I was
yes.
like, ooh.
Yeah. It makes it very difficult. And so unfortunately I do miss things that I do want to see.
Yeah.
Because it, and I also have a difficult time driving at night. And so I have to have my honey Uber.
That affects things.
And it does affect things quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, my significant other is very willing to drive me places, which is very nice. But he's more of a homebody than I am. So even if I manage to get myself out, he's most likely dropping me off and going back to the cozy home.
Because I'm like, to me, it's kind of like going to an exercise class. It's like, I know if I go, I'm going to be glad that I did.
Yes.
It's just getting there.
Yes. Yes.
I say part.
Yeah. I once heard the phrase situational extrovert, and I went, that is me. Because once I'm there, I'm usually comfortable and fine, especially if I find somebody that I know that gives me energy and
absolutely,
and then I'm fine with talking with strangers after that and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I do have a cutoff time. And that's usually about 2 hours. Like I am peopled out at 2 hours, even with my family. Like I am like 2 hours in and I'm like, got time to go home, guys. Love you. Bye. No,
I get that entirely. And I've never heard that term, situational extrovert. But as soon as you said it, I went, I get that.
Yes.
Completely.
But it's very difficult because like you said, when you get there, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, you're going to be fine and you're going to have more than likely going to have a nice time.
Yes, and be glad that you went. But it's that getting there that's the most difficult part, And there's things like, our producer over here that's sitting there behind the scenes, he has a band. He's a phenomenal singer. He does stuff locally. Yeah. And I would love to go out and support him, but then I go, loud bar, noisy, people late at night.
Compared to my nice soft bed. It's just,
soft bed,
It's like it's like my all my quiet leisure things and then going out are competing for my attention.
Yes. So then the social media becomes important. Now we can tie it all together because then the social media becomes important because how do I show my support? By liking, following, subscribing, and sharing, commenting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. In this day and age too, I think with our generation and younger, people understand more than they used to.
Yeah.
They understand that when you can't show up, when you don't have the energy or you don't have the wherewithal, you just don't have it then and there to go. They understand more. They're more empathetic to it because I think our generation sort of deals with that a little bit more than
I think so.
Than the older generations,
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
don't get upset when like people don't come to my shows anymore. Because at one point I was like, why don't you want to come to me?
Yeah. But it's literally, it's not that we don't want to support you. It's not that we don't even want to see the show.
No.
And
most things I see, most events I see on Facebook, it's really hard because a lot of things will show up that I'm like, I am legitimately interested in that.
Yes.
But not on a Tuesday night at 9 p.m.
Yeah, I know. Like, what do you mean it starts at 9 o'clock?
To get up at 5 the next day.
What do you mean it starts at 7? That means it's going to finish at 9, which is an hour past my bedtime.
Means they're going to have to drive home. And
all that stuff, and unwind.
Yeah.
That takes a little bit too sometimes. But I was actually talking with my aunt the other day who just turned 70, but she was in her 50s when her husband passed away. And so she kind of went on this swinging pendulum. Well, while she was in her 50s, I was in my mid-20s. That's prime going out having a good time, right? And she was coming with us. And we were staying out. We'd go out on weekdays. Crazy people that we were. You go out and drink till 10, 11 o'clock, go home, get up and go to work and, do it all again or later.
Or call in and lie.
Yeah, that's that too.
Occasionally.
Maybe, possibly. Didn't get as many hangovers, though, in my 20s. That wake up a little sluggish, but not like... you hit 30 and suddenly a hangover is like 3 days long and life is over.
Like, am I am I sick now?
Yeah,
Or, I'm
yeah.
just hungover.
But yeah, she used to come out with us, and she'd come out during the week. She'd come out on the weekends with us, stay out until 2:00 in the morning with
Wow.
us. She didn't usually do after parties, but sometimes she did. So we'd be up,
yeah,
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
sure.
Sure, why
Yeah.
not? And I looked at her and I said, Lynn, I don't know how you did it. Like, I started questioning how you did it in the 30s. I said, now that I'm in my 40s, I'm really questioning how you did it in your 50s.
Yeah.
Like, the closer I get to the age you were, I don't quite understand. But I mean, that was emotional state because of losing her husband. But
Yeah.
she was laughing too. She's like, I don't know how I did it either.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, it's just becoming more and more understanding on missing this stuff because we just don't have the energy. And I think it's the way we've kind of built our society, because we're so on the go all the time and stressed and having to be on and I think you can still be your authentic self while still putting on a face.
Yeah.
And those different faces are your true self. You're not really hiding, but they're different faces for different situations. And that can be exhausting as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think that is, I've never thought that was being fake or inauthentic. I think, I definitely agree that we all have different facets to our personalities. We're all multi-layered, and there are times when you have to go into one situation and be one part of yourself, and then, others where you go in and be another side of yourself, and it is tiring.
It is.
I know I'm different when I go, I'm always, so like, just to give one example before you probably want to wrap it up, but I'm always a little bit hesitant when I have friends who are like, I really want to come to one of your meditations, or, back when I was teaching yoga full time and leading guided meditations as well. I'd have friends who are like, I want to come to your meditation. And I'd be like, I don't know that I'm comfortable with you seeing that side of myself. Not because I'm not proud of it,
right?
But because it's going to be different, and I don't want you to think I'm putting on. I don't want you to be like, that's not Joan. She's full of shit. She's not really like that. Like,
but it is Joan. It's just a different
different version
of Joan. Yeah,
than you're used to.
Yes. And sometimes there's the version that is more relaxing and comfortable to be on a regular basis versus the other versions that you do for different events or going out or being in public. But, I think to kind of, like you said, wrap it up here, I do think that the live shows and everything is really important. The audience connection is really important. I think the technology that's coming out, all of it, everything that we talked about has its importance and relevance, and it's great that it can all tie together and still help with social situations like we were talking about.
Yeah, and you know what? I was starting to kind of give into this idea, this notion that live theater is has one foot in the grave, and that it's on its way out. But seeing how theaters are able to incorporate the new technology, it gives me hope. Yeah, it gives me hope that it's going to stick around, and it's not just going to stick around; it's gonna thrive.
Yes, agreed.
Because they're evolving.
Yeah,
they're starting to evolve, and that's an exciting thing.
It is an exciting thing, definitely. Well, definitely leave your comments below on what you think on everything that we discussed, including our bunny trails. Why not? Have some fun with our bunny trails. We went there.
Hop along with us.
Yeah. And so we'll see you on the next Performance Anxiety.